Are you ready to touch one of the greatest unsolved mysteries of our time? A story almost lost to the shadows of history, amidst the glitter and tragedy of a woman who inspired millions. This isn't just a tale of a lost relic. It's the story of a lost truth. Listen closely. You are about to hear the story of the lost diary of Princess Diana. In August 1997, the world held its breath. A car crash in Paris's Pont de l'Alma tunnel took the life of the people's princess. But on that tragic night, something else vanished from the wreckage. Something more elusive and dangerous than a single human life. Something that could have forever altered our understanding of the British monarchy, politics, and the sinister forces operating in the corridors of power. It was her personal diary. Not the public letters, not the official statements. This diary, which she reportedly kept in the final years of her life, according to close friends. It became her secret repository for her most intimate thoughts, fears, conversations, and premonitions. In the aftermath of her death, whispers of this journal began to circulate like a gathering storm. Paul Burrell, Diana's former butler, later claimed to have seen it. He described it as a book with a dark maroon cover, filled with the princess's dense, elegant handwriting. According to him, Diana made entries almost daily, documenting everything from her triumphs to her deep personal sufferings. But the most crucial pages were dedicated to the final months. She detailed her relationship with Dodi Al-Fayed, not as a grand romance, but as a complex, sometimes confusing affair. She recorded her fears about her safety, a feeling of being constantly watched. There were names. Powerful, influential names in politics and the media who, she felt, wanted her silenced. Yet, one alleged conversation stands out. Just weeks before her death, Diana reportedly told a close friend, "They are planning something. A car accident. The brakes will fail," something like that. "It will be made to look like I can't handle the attention." This wasn't paranoia. It was a chilling forecast, spoken by a woman who had seen too much. So, what happened to this diary after the tragedy in Paris? The official narrative denies its existence. The Scotland Yard investigation found no trace. But then, why did a former police commissioner involved in the probe later whisper in an interview about the disappearance of certain personal artifacts never presented to the court? Why did witnesses, like that very butler, suddenly change their stories or fall silent after pressure from the tabloids? There is a theory that the diary didn't vanish. It was seized. Removed from her personal effects at the Piti-Salpêtrière Hospital or from her apartments at Kensington Palace. But by whom? And most importantly, why? The answers to these questions lead us into the dark waters of conspiracy. The conspiracy theories surrounding the diary spread like a web. The most common one suggests its contents were so explosive, they threatened the very foundations of the establishment. It could have contained details of conversations with politicians seeking to use her popularity, evidence of financial machinations, or, most scandalously, candid accounts of her dealings with members of the royal family that could have shattered their public image forever. Another, more mystical hypothesis, proposes that Diana was keeping not just a diary, but a kind of coded manifesto. She was known to be deeply spiritual, interested in prophecies and predictions. Perhaps in these writings, she wasn't just recording the past, but attempting to decipher the future, her own. And these decryptions may have pointed to specific individuals who ultimately played a role in her fate. A third version, grim and cynical, claims the diary never left the confines of Kensington Palace. It was destroyed not as evidence, but as an act of protection. Protecting the institution of the monarchy from an inconvenient truth that could no longer be controlled. So, what is real? Can we separate fact from fiction? The fact is, Diana spoke openly about her feeling of being persecuted and threatened. The fact is, she did keep diaries, this is confirmed by those close to her. The fact is, after her death, numerous accounts emerged of this specific, final diary's existence, which then abruptly disappeared. The motives for its suppression, if it occurred, are obvious. Diana was the most famous woman in the world. Her words carried weight. Words written in a diary would carry the weight of eternity. They could have confirmed or debunked dozens of theories, exonerated the innocent or implicated the guilty. They could have triggered a political earthquake. And so, we are left with a void. With silence where a voice should have been. The story of Princess Diana's lost diary is far more than a detective story. It is a symbol. A symbol of the struggle between truth and convenience, between the individual and the system, between memory and oblivion. It forces us to ask, what is history? A dry collection of official documents left by those in power? Or is it a living, breathing fabric of personal stories, memories, and truths that are sometimes so zealously hidden? Diana's diary, if it exists, is not merely paper and ink. It is a key. A key to understanding not only her personal tragedy but also the world we live in, a world where information is the most valuable currency, and truth is the most dangerous weapon. Who could have orchestrated such a seizure? The suspects in the court of public opinion are as powerful as they are shadowy. Some theories point to elements within MI6, acting to prevent a national embarrassment or to protect strategic alliances that Diana's revelations could have shattered. Her outspoken views on landmines, for instance, threatened immense arms manufacturers with global political ties. Did her diary contain more damning evidence? Other whispers point to the grey men, the senior courtiers and private secretaries within the royal household, whose sole purpose is to protect the crown's image at any cost. To them, Diana was not a person, but a volatile asset. An asset that had become a liability. Her diary was a repository of that liability. In this cold calculus, its destruction wasn't an act of malice, but of duty. A duty to preserve an institution far greater than any one individual, even a princess. The conspiracy even crosses the Atlantic. Dodi Al-Fayed's father, Mohammed, waged a very public campaign, alleging a murder plot orchestrated by the Duke of Edinburgh and MI6. While widely dismissed, it raises a pertinent question: what if the diary contained details about Diana's life in America? She was forging a new path there, free from the constraints of the palace. Were there discussions with powerful American media figures, politicians, or philanthropists about a future that would have permanently shifted her center of power away from Britain? A future where she would have had a global platform, completely uncontrolled. The diary wouldn't just be about the past, it would be a blueprint for a future that certain parties were desperate to prevent.